We are living through monumentally historic days, and the question that will be asked around the family dinner table at Christmas and friendly gatherings will be, where were you when the entire course of humanity was altered? On Wednesday, May 24th, 2023, Ron Desantis announced his run for president, and he held an open Q&A on Twitter. This has never happened before. Nothing like this has taken place in the entirety of human civilization. There's never been a time where a presidential candidate has got on a platform as big as Twitter and talked to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people all listening at the same time. Usually, when a presidential candidate gets on stage, it is on a real stage, a tangible thing made of wood and bricks, etc. But on Wednesday, May 24th, Ron DeSantis got on Twitter and was able to reach more people than any town hall will ever be able to hope to hold. And on Twitter, Ron DeSantis was able to talk to hundreds of thousands of people. There has never been a town hall that was held in front of that many people all at once. I'm going to play sections of a clip here where Ron DeSantis is talking about Bitcoin, and I don't want you to focus too much on his exact words. You have to focus on the signal that is behind the noise. And if you have difficulty deciphering that signal, I'm here to help.
I guess where do you come down on this? What is your view, I guess, broadly of Bitcoin and people's right to hold Bitcoin and to transact Bitcoin?
You have every right to do Bitcoin. The only reason these people in Washington don't like it is because they don't control it.
Ron says it right there. The reason that the Fed, the people in power, don't like Bitcoin is because it is something that they can't control. Control is the number one thing that governments want. It is a gelatinous blob consuming everything that it can possibly get its disgusting tendrils on, including our every single freedom. Bitcoin has no issuer. It has no Fed. It has no Jerome Powell or Janet Yellen to say, these people should get some of this, and those people should be taxed into oblivion. That cannot happen with Bitcoin. It is impossible to happen with Bitcoin.
They want to have control over society, and don't like it is because they don't control it. And they're central planners, and they want to have control over society. And so Bitcoin represents a threat to them. And so, as you're saying, they're trying to regulate it out of existence.
We can all have a chuckle about Ron DeSantis here saying that people do Bitcoin and you should be able to do Bitcoin. He clearly does not understand it the way that many in the Bitcoin space do. But that isn't important. If you still haven't picked up on the signal, just wait, it's coming.
I just do not have an itch to have to control everything that people may be doing in this space. And I think that the current regime, clearly, they have it out for Bitcoin. And if it continues for another 4 years, they'll probably end up killing it.
With his final statement there, he proves that he doesn't fully understand Bitcoin. Bitcoin cannot be killed. It has transcended such petty things as life and death. Bitcoin is truly unstoppable. People will talk about, well, what if the entire global electric grid goes down? If the entire global electric grid were to go down, we would have much, much greater things to deal with than whatever Bitcoin was doing. And the thing is, Bitcoin would still be there waiting in a dormant state, ready to come out of hibernation and re-released upon the world. It wouldn't go away. It cannot be killed. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, well, where's all the signal? That sounded like a fair bit of noise, and you'd be right. The signal, my dear friend, is that Ron DeSantis, a presidential candidate right behind Trump, is talking about Bitcoin. Vivek Ramaswamy is talking about Bitcoin. Tulsi Gabbard is talking about Bitcoin. And RFK Jr. is talking about Bitcoin. And not in a silly, flippant manner. No, as an actual option, a way for you and I to opt out of the madness that is the current system. If you still don't understand how drastically different this is than any other point in human history, then I'll try and make it as simple as I can. Before today, if you didn't like a system, you had to A, leave, if you had that option, or B, stage some sort of coup, attack the system physically using kinetic force, go with your fists, go with weapons, actually dismantle using tangible means the current system. But that no longer applies. As Nico and Opti and everybody here on Simply Bitcoin is constantly reminding you, this is a peaceful revolution, not one single drop of blood need to be shed, and it shouldn't be shed. The only thing that will die is an entirely decrepit, rotten system that is way past its prime. Look at so many leaders around the world, especially in this country. They are perfect examples of this system. I love these two pictures that I've seen Stacey Herbert post a couple of times. This one has Dianne Feinstein on the left and Nayib Bukele on the right. We've got President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, on the left, and once again, Nayib Bukele on the right. These images perfectly represent what Bitcoin means to a country, means to a people, means as an idea. One is full of life, one is bright, and on the other hand, we've got Joe Biden and Dianne Feinstein who haven't had children in a long time. This system is a vampire, draining every last drop of vitality out of the system that it possibly can. You and I are the food for that vampire, unless we opt out. Have you figured it out yet? Have you picked up on what the signal is? If you haven't, I'm going to spell it out for you right here. The signal is that people are talking about Bitcoin. For the first time in history, people realize that they have a non-violent way to opt out of the system. One of the most incredible things about this is that we are using the current rotten system to fuel the new system. Much like an old tree fallen in the forest gives life to a whole host of new entities. Flowers, mushrooms, funguses, little critters, bugs, all sorts of new things. An entire microforest will grow from that tree, and that is exactly what Bitcoin is doing for you and I. So I ask you again, at this most monumentous point in history, what is it that you are doing? How much are you invested in this fight for the future? Are you just talking about it? Are you just listening to podcasts? Or are you actively engaged in the non-violent fight? The fight that requires nothing but your energy, your time, and your dedication. This is a way of being, a way of living, opting out of the rotten and opting in to the new and glorious. And Bitcoin is the path to that future.